Well, after several promises in recent years, it seems government is finally moving towards possibly decriminalising sex work in South Africa. The Justice Department is holding a series of meetings with the country's informal sex work sector. Previously, we heard that government is building a register of nearly 70,000 sex workers to help identify critical social services they may need in the future. Many sex workers have complained in the past that they've got very little support from government during the darkest days of the hard lockdown. But now that process to decriminalise is picking up steam. We get reaction from Katlego Rasebitse, who's with the Sisonke sex workers movement. Katlego, thank you so much for joining us. We've been having this discussion for years, it seems, and there just doesn't seem to be proper movement. Can you just explain to us the difference between legalizing sex work and decriminalizing sex work? Because there is quite a difference. Please.
Sorry for that. Yes, thank you so much. There is quite a difference between the two. Mostly by decriminalizing sex work, you totally mean that all the aspects that criminalizes sex work in South Africa are going to be stripped off. That includes the buying of sex, the selling of sex, profiting, living out of the profits, and knowingly. So these are some of the 5 aspects that the currently criminalized. And by legalizing sex work, it means that there's going to be certain restrictions that are going to be imposed upon those that want to engage in sex work, of which, as the movement, we do not want to be seen sex work being legalized in the countries. We have seen other countries where sex work are legalized, whereby like sex work will definitely go underground because they will be restricted. There will be certain health and bylaws that are going to be imposed on sex workers.
I mean, internationally, where sex work has been decriminalized, such as in the Netherlands, it seems to have worked quite well because sex workers have access to health services and they also have to pay tax. So it can only be a win for government, surely.
It's going to be a big win for government because sex workers themselves are prepared to pay tax because they also believe that they are part of our economy. So government is in for a big win. And what's happening now currently, if you have already noticed, that justice, they are now I would call consultations that are taking place in the country. This is what one of the recommendations that was done in 2017 by the Law Reform Commission of South Africa to say this process needs to take place. It's only justice has taken its time and all these years. And during that process, certain recommendations that we have already submitted to the Law Reform Commission were ignored, whereas the 3 recommendations that you see today, Justice, taken to the public are some of the recommendations that the Law Reform recommended in 2017.
Why is this taking so long?
Justice doesn't want to come to the party. It's only the Department of Health you have seen throughout the years because, we were close with condoms, we were close with lubricants because these are some of the health preventions, PrEP, ARVs. These are some of the things that we also offer on sex workers. But they will tell you literally when you ask the justice, why have you taken so long? They will tell you that it takes long to review those, recommendations, because of now and then there's a change in the presidency, there's a change in ministers, there's a change in cabinet. So each time if there's a reshuffle, then you need to start whoever that comes into justice as a new minister needs to be taken through the process. So these are some of the delays that they say it causes them throughout all of these years.
Katlego, before we go, just put me in, just explain to me where the situation goes from here. What is the current status quo?
From here, the hopes of sex workers in the country, we depend upon the gender-based violence plan that only has a time frame to say 2024. Sex work might be decriminalized. So maybe justice might be doing the first steps towards 2024. So that's the hope that we have as the movement in South Africa.
All right. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. That was Katlego Rasebitse, who's with the Sisonke sex workers movement. Thank you so much for your time this morning.